The Epistle to the Galatians, Chapter 2, Part 2. The rest of the chapter describes a confrontation in Antioch between Peter and Paul. Galatians 2:11. But when Peter came to Antioch, I resisted him to the face, because he stood condemned. Peter, who was visiting, at first was willing to eat with the Gentiles, but when some came from James, out of fear he withdrew himself. Galatians 2:12. For before some people came from James, he ate with the Gentiles, but when they came, he drew back and separated himself, fearing those who were of the circumcision. Through his influence, the rest of the Jews, even Barnabas, were carried away into hypocrisy. Galatians 2:13. And the rest of the Jews joined him in his hypocrisy, so even Barnabas was carried away with their hypocrisy. This prompted Paul to withstand Peter to his face, and to rebuke him in the presence of all. Galatians 2:14-15. But when I saw that they didn't walk uprightly according to the truth of the gospel, I said to Peter before them all, If you, being a Jew, live as the Gentiles do and not as the Jews do, why do you compel the Gentiles to live as the Jews do? We, being Jews by nature, and not Gentile sinners. In the course of his rebuke, Paul stressed that we are justified by faith in Christ and not by the works of the law. Galatians 2:16-19. Yet knowing that a man is not justified by the works of the law, but through the faith of Jesus Christ, even we believed in Christ Jesus, that we might be justified by faith in Christ, and not by the works of the law, because no flesh will be justified by the works of the law. But if, while we sought to be justified in Christ, we ourselves also were found sinners, is Christ a servant of sin? Certainly not. For if I build up again those things which I destroyed, I prove myself a lawbreaker. For I, through the law, died to the law, that I might live to God. Otherwise Christ died in vain. Galatians 2:20-21. I have been crucified with Christ, and it is no longer I that live, but Christ living in me. That life which I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself up for me. I don't make void the grace of God, for if righteousness is through the law, then Christ died for nothing. The Epistle to the Galatians, Chapter 2, Part 2, the end.